This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
In Melbourne, there's this plumber who goes by the name Haz, and he was put onto a job by a neighbour who said that a family friend of his had no running hot water.
Oh, okay.
And
well, that is a job for a plumber.
Yeah, and he couldn't get it fixed, and he was going through some difficult times. So Haz was put in contact with him, contacted the bloke, and and then heard what he said was the biggest sob story he's ever heard from the bloke.
Okay, yeah. So he's going to go there and help.
Yeah. So then he went, you know what, mate? You're going through it rough at the moment. He goes, I will not charge you for any labour. I'm just going to charge you for parts.
Okay.
Which was a whole lot of copper piping. So
Really nice,
it was
mate.
$700 instead of going to be $3,000 to $4,000.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an amazing offer.
Amazing
Yes.
offer.
Good work, Haz.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was a really lovely feeling for him until it came for to be payment, and then there was some issues. I'll get into what happened with that. But Haz, because he didn't get paid, he decided to take things into his own hands and go under this guy's house and sort out the problem himself.
This is a quick example of what happens when you don't pay the bill. Look, I wouldn't do this to just anyone. This guy had plenty of funds to pay the bill, and at the end of it, I found he brought me to his house with the intention of not paying. So this is what he deserves. He actually sends me a message saying to come take my work, thinking I wasn't. Lol, bada bing, bada boom.
So he's taking the copper pipe.
He's under the house, taking back everything that he had installed.
Yep.
Yeah, because the
Cut it
guy
all
never
out.
paid for it.
So this is what's happened, right? So he's agreed to do this deal with this guy, $700 just for labour,
Yeah,
right?
no,
And
just for parts.
Just for
the
parts,
equipment,
no
yeah.
labour cost, right? So this guy goes, yeah, no worries. Then in the meantime, while he's waiting to get paid, the guy said, I've got a problem with my oven, so he goes and pays for his, goes and fixes his oven as well. Then the guy that he did the favour for ends up contacting him and said, can I get an invoice for the $4,000 job? And then Haz said, no, you can't, because then I'll get taxed on that.
That's
I have
right.
to invoice you for what you what you
But
paid.
I'm only doing it,
Yes.
Which was the $700. And the guy goes, well, no. He goes, I don't want that invoice. I want to be invoiced for the $4,000. He goes, why? And he goes, because my insurance company will pay for it. And he goes, well, if your insurance company's going to pay you $4,000, why aren't you just getting your insurance company to pay me to do the job? And then the guy goes, oh, and now you're putting up the price. And he goes, I'm not putting up the price.
The price remains the same.
Remains $700, but you're not getting an invoice for $4,000. So this is why the guy ended up refusing to pay. And
So he wasn't his
actually
money
makes no
anyway.
sense.
yes.
But you're going to have to pay an excess, right? So if it was $4,000, then you would pay, let's say, $500 excess. But he's talking about paying $700.
Yes.
But he wants a receipt
Yes.
for $4,000.
He would have been
Yes.
fine. Yeah.
He wants to.
Unless his excess is higher.
Yeah, he
But
wants to do something dodgy with the insurance company
Yes.
by saying that I got charged this much and gets the insurance back instead of just getting the insurance to contact the plumber and them do it themselves.
Yes, and also he's asking the plumber
To do something
falsify
dodgy.
invoices, which is fraud.
I mean, who would do
That's
that?
fraud. That's insurance fraud.
Yeah.
Sean.
Anyway,
Insurance fraud,
No,
Sean.
no, not in my eyes.
this is in Sean.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Exactly.
Well, actually, you know what? That was a good point. Anyway, all these other tradies have jumped on board.
Yes.
And they're saying, this is what they're saying, right? That so many comments. The amount of times I've tried to be kind to people doing jobs cheap and they just end up screwing you over. It's rough. Another one, I'm a tradie and I find that people with sob stories that you end up doing a solid for with the price are usually the most difficult to deal with afterwards, and with their demands, expectations and payments. Imagine that. You have done someone a favour.
Yes, you've cut your price.
Yes,
or you've
because
come
of
after
the
hours.
situation they're in. You've given some. You're being the kind-hearted, generous person, and that person screws you over.
ungrateful.
Yeah. I've heard people ask for, and this is recently, a guy asking a tradie to pay cash and to do one in their own time, so to speak, and then they wanted a receipt.
You don't get a receipt for a cashy. That's
don't.
That's
What are
the
you
point of it.
doing?
That's why it's called a cashy.
Yeah.
And then they're upset because the price changes.
Yes.
If you want one.
Yes, because if there's a receipt, they have to charge you GST.
Well, Jared's given us a call. Good morning, Jared.
Good morning.
Hey, Jared. All right. Firstly, we need a favour. No.
What sort of business are you in, Jared?
So I'm a pestie.
Yeah. Okay.
And I copped a phone call from a lady on a Friday arvo, and she's bawling her eyes out. She's got active termites in her roof. They're in her floor. Her house has got to fall over. Bawling her eyes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Explained to me that her dad had passed away, and it was his house. She doesn't know what to do. She's got minimal money. She's worried about the house and her kids. So I went and did about just under $3,500 worth of work on a Saturday.
Whoa, Jared. Good on you, mate.
Build her materials only, did no labour, spent a whole day there, and had to pay my offsider as well, so he paid his wages for the day.
Oh, that's really nice here, Jared.
For her to not pay her bill. Basically contacted her, she just completely ghosted us, did some homework on her, did some Facebook stalking, and found out that, one, she has no kids. It was actually her house, and she was the head purchasing officer for one of the biggest mining companies and had a portfolio of $4.5 million.
No!
Jared!
Jared, did you contact that mining company then? Are you allowed to? What's the deal with that? If someone does something bad in life, can you contact someone's work?
Why not harass them in their workplace?
We, it got pretty nasty. We tried to, go down the legal avenue, but it's a really hard avenue and it's just more expense to us. So sometimes you're better off cutting the loss. But when I put something on Facebook for the suburb that she was in and had quite a few other tradies contact me, and she had done it to Sparky, she'd done it to Chippies, and it was her thing. She, got tradies in on the intention of never actually paying.
Jared, can I ask you, does that change the way you are now doing people favours? Because this is the worst thing. People like this will ruin it for anyone that actually is in need and you could do something nice for. Has it changed the way you deal with that?
Look, I still, to be honest, I think I'm a little bit too nice. I still, do things for people nice and, look after them. But I got to admit, I do Google them and do some homework on them first now.
Yeah.
But I just think there's always going to be, negative people out there, and stick with the
bad
positives
karma
and
on her.
keep going.
That lady's had a big mining company, she said. What about hitting up their website and writing stuff on it about her?
I really wanted to, but at the time we had a tender with that mining company, so I was really scared that if I got up her and her being the purchasing manager, if I would lose my tender.
Yeah. And Sean, Natalie's right, Karma is my boyfriend. Karma's a cat purring on my lap.
That's right, you know that. And Jared, is it okay to take just a box of termites around and re-release them into a facility?
Yeah, exactly.
Some starving termites.
I hummed and hard on taking her a jerry can and a packet of matches. But,
No. Collect a whole bag of termites, right? A whole thing of termites, and then every day just dangle a bit of wood there so they can't get it.
Really hungry.
And then they're like just starving. And then as soon as they get to the wood, they go.
I don't know, we're ideas people, obviously.
That's the worst part with my trade. I can't go and
take it back.
uninstall things.
Yes, exactly. You're a good guy, Jared. Don't stop doing that. Taylor's in Ellenbrook. Hello.
Hello, hey guys.
Hi, Taylor.
Are you a tradie as well?
I am. This one's a tradie to tradie though.
Oh, okay. What happened?
So I'm a night tradie and we work closely with other companies, and this guy's come in and sort of like, someone's like stolen all my tools out of my ute, like I can't go to my next job. So I've lent him my tools because we're regularly on jobs together, and he's just flown to Geraldton and taken all my tools with him.
What?
And left the company and never come back.
You lent him your tools, so he took them permanently.
And moved to Geraldton.
And how much worth of tools, Taylor?
Like easily $500.
Oh.
Like just was like the main stuff. We loaned the little bits and pieces, but like.
What a jerk!
That's
bring
just
them back like in 2 days' time. Like I'll see you here. Literally.
And then it just shot through with no intention of returning them.
And so
clearly.
you know exactly where he is. Have you contacted him? He's just ghosted you and cut all ties.
I've contacted like his company, my company, because he's left that company. Like they can't contact him anymore either. So like,
you know why? He's probably in the Bahamas holidaying on your tour money.
Exactly. Still wearing his belt
Taylor,
around.
what a stitch up. Trading.
No tools because you sold them all to get to the Bahamas.
It hurts when it's someone on your side.
Oh, yeah.
You got to the Bahamas on the $500 worth of tools? Okay, good.
You're only a what if away from a holiday with whatif.com.
You could go to the dentist or all the kids' sports.
But what if it was a weekend on the coast instead? Book hotels, holiday rentals, apartments, and more.
What if it's Aussie for travel?
We all have them.
Everybody
They can be a treat. They can be a nightmare. They can be a puzzle.
Oh,
Yeah. So this Aussie landlord, right, he has jumped on a popular Facebook page dedicated to fellow investment property owners coming together and sharing their gripes.
They sound like fun.
Okay, yes.
Their solutions, their problems, etc. The landlord said they're in a situation where the people had moved into their rental home, weren't on the rental agreement. They wrote, I expected a 59-year-old mother, a 39-year-old daughter and a 40-year-old partner to be moving in. What I seem to have is no mother, a dog and 2 children around 6 and 10. Do I immediately breach because of dishonesty? Right? And people are like, well, you know, are they all right? And they're like, you know, yeah, they're all right tenants. Someone said, how do you know this for a fact?
Yes.
I live next door and they don't know.
Oh, so the landlord didn't disclose to the
No.
tenants that the landlord lives next door.
A real estate expert's come out and said that it is not, it's not illegal for,
of course
for
it's
them
not.
not to disclose this information, but said it is really icky behaviour. He said it's borderline spying and that can be destructive. They don't, even if you are a landlord and you live in the same street or around the same area, they said it's usually it's a good faith to let the people know that you're going to be going past the house all the time.
Yes,
I'm
that's
3
right.
doors up, by the way.
Yes,
You know.
just letting you know.
Because-
But also you can say, if you've got any problems, I'm right next door.
Yeah.
That way you turn it into a positive and so they feel better about it. But rather just, I'm not going to tell you that I'm next door looking
is
at
the
everything that
thing.
you do and who's coming and going. That's creepy.
This is the thing. You don't know. This landlord can surveil you 24 hours a day and you don't know. And you can have an issue with them and you don't
that's
know,
right.
you know.
Yeah.
And they could be looking over your fence at any time.
But that...
And this landlord seems to maybe have some issues with petty things.
Well, the thing
Well,
is, as a
I
tenant,
think-
you're entitled to quiet enjoyment of the property. And I would suggest that if the landlord's looking over the fence and peering and checking out everything you're doing, they're not getting that.
Yeah.
No, but if you've leased a house to somebody
I have.
and they have set down the guidelines, which is, you know, an adult, a wife, kids, whatever,
Yeah.
and it's totally the opposite, then they're breaching the laws too.
Yes, but
Well, you don't
they
have to
also...
you don't put children on a lease, firstly.
Yeah, that's right. They are they good tenants is the question. And are they? Are there any issues with what they're doing other than the fact that they're not who they thought they were? Are they good tenants?
Came back and said 3 weeks later the tenants were the best tenants he's had.
It would be difficult if you had every good intentions of leaving the person to enjoy the property that they've rented, which is yours, but you're next door. There'd be things that would just get you because they would just, he's not mowing the lawn correctly or
Anything a little, 'cause
cars
it's your
are parking on
property.
the grass.
Yeah.
All those things would get you.
Yeah. Because they reckon that this landlord situation of a landlord living on the same property as you is quite common nowadays because of the consolidation of blocks. And they said that
just
not all
tell
the
them.
time it isn't disclosed.
Yeah, you just have to disclose that. Well, the surveillance was that woman that was working from home, and unbeknownst to her work, were monitoring the number of keystrokes that she was making on her laptop when she was supposedly working at home. Then somebody found out the timestamp. She was actually making TikTok videos.
She's a nightmare. What about your rental?
There you go. Yeah, when we were down
holiday
south, we were renting a place, so we had a landlord, I guess. And she came over the very first day we moved in. Well, I had a fair few beers and we had a few people around at that stage. So I didn't realise until later on that she came in and she was asking all these questions about us being there. And she was just sussing us all out. Later on, it was probably the next day and the day after, there was this old lady who was in the backyard. And we had to contact...
You're like, Megan.
we had to contact the manager of the property, and they said, this is the owner's mum.
Yeah.
And she'll be around every second day.
What for?
What for? Oh, she needs to check the garden and water it. Well, because
Reticulation,
of
lady.
it had reticulation, but because this lady kept coming around, then we're getting dobbed in. So we're getting phone calls whilst we've rented this property of saying you haven't hung up the hose.
Because you've used it to
properly.
hose down
and
the
it needs to
surfboards or
go
something.
from the top right around. And then the other thing was there was bikes that were up against the planter box, and that's a no-no.
If you knew this, you wouldn't have rented it.
100%. No,
If these people here knew that their landlord was living next door, they probably wouldn't have rented it because it is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Can I just add one? This reminds me, we're talking about being surveillance, right? Yeah. When I was walking down the river one day, I ran into this person I knew for years ago, and I said, "What are you doing?" And she was surveilling a woman's husband.
Oh, so she's a private investigator
She was
now.
a private investigator.
So
she was checking him out, man.
professionally
That
doing
was
it.
so interesting.
Was she like in a hedge and the hedge would just
She was
move
sitting
along
in her
the
car
river?
in the passenger side. I want to see
She should try the hedge thing. People don't see it coming.
But we're talking about, the landlord that didn't disclose to his tenants that he lived right next door.
Unbelievable.
So he's watching everything they do.
Yeah. It's not illegal. It's just a bit icky.
Yeah.
We're talking about when you didn't realise that you're being surveilled or being watched. Pricey, who works with us here. Hello.
Good morning, guys.
Hi, Pricey.
You got a story?
I do. I've got a story. So a guy on my street, he's the owner of the house and he rents it out.
Yeah.
And he rents it through a real estate agent. But the people that live there, whenever anything is broken in the house, any retic, inside, outside, whatever, they speak to the real estate agent. The real estate agent sends the owner to go and fix everything inside and outside of the house.
Know.
They don't know. I mean, he rocks up with his legit van that has all the stuff.
all the gear.
That must be his business.
Yes.
But
he's not saying when he's there, I'm your landlord.
Nope, the tenants
He
have
just
no
pretends
idea.
he's a tradie.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't help but if you're that person coming over to fix something that you own the property,
course
looking
you-
in, how well are
course
they
you are.
treating this house? Look how dirty
It's an
everything is.
unofficial property inspection.
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
Yep, and they have no idea, poor things.
No, we didn't
Siri-
either. Siri is
Siri's outraged.
confused
We're
as
all
to
upset
what's
about it.
happening.
Do you want
God,
to say the address so the tenants know?
I'm on your regular Ramsey Street. I love my street. Everyone talks.
And we use her maiden name too, so you can't track her in the mail. Neighbours.
Thanks, Rosie. Jane's at Leaderville. Hi, Jane.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Jane.
Who was under surveillance, Jane?
Well, I was. Many, many years ago, my fiancé went up north and said to my neighbour, who was a bit older, just keep an eye on Jane. And I came home from work one day and my underwear was folded and put on my back step in a big pile.
Jane. So what, they took it off the clothesline, folded it up and left it on...
Yeah. And I thought, oh, my God, what has gone on? And somehow I realised it might have been him for 2 other stories. So I went and knocked on his door and he said, it had been there for 3 days. And I thought because it was a dry day that I'd take it off for you.
Yes.
Oh, my
Who's looking over
God.
the fence to know that your knickers are on the line?
But think about this,
I
right? So
guess
he's been
it's
asked to make sure that Jane's okay, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
he wants to step up and protect Jane.
He
and
doesn't
then
realise it's crossed the line.
But then, underwear on a line for 3 days suggests that someone's not home, so it could invite a break-in. So I think he really was looking after Jane.
What about you knock
But
on the
also,
door?
how many
Hey,
pairs
Jane,
did
are
he
you
put
there?
in his pocket?
But he needs 3 pairs as payment. Jane, was he a nice guy?
He probably kept a pair for himself later. I don't know.
Jane,
there you
what?
go.
I think his heart was in the right place.
Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? If you're not going to use them, you can give them away as a gift.
You're not gonna use
Sean's
it.
giving me
Jane.
several pairs of his own
Yeah,
Jox's
I have.
exactly.
Let's speak to Jacob. Hey, Jacob.
Hey guys, how you going?
Hey,
Good,
good.
Jacob.
Were you the surveilleur, Jacob? What happened?
Yeah, so I actually had to do some surveilling. So I, at the time, was living down south, and I originally had an apartment up in the city. So whilst I was down south, I was just Airbnb-ing it out to try and make a bit of extra money to pay for the mortgage.
Yeah.
And then basically I knew someone else that lived in the complex, and they were saying, something's a bit weird going on in your apartment. And I said, okay. And I had a booking for about 4 weeks. And I was like, do you mind if I come up and, stay at yours? And just thought I'd do a bit of surveilling myself. And I said, yeah, no worries. So I came up and it was a couple that booked, and it seemed all normal. I couldn't really look in or anything. I didn't want to break any privacy. But essentially what happened, a few other people were coming and going, and I was like, seems still pretty normal. And then one day I sort of noticed like a camera, like a film sort of set was coming through, and I was like,
exciting.
and it's clicked, and eventually I realised that they were making pornography in my apartment.
You were bang on knowing that people are coming and going.
Yeah.
Never too early. So, Jacob, what did you do?
Bought a lot of spray and wipe.
Basically, I wasn't touching. I got a cleaning crew in after.
Didn't you knock on the door and say, do you need a cameo?
I'm here to cleanse the pool.
But I messaged him. I was like, hey, I know what's going on here. And basically, within the day, they were just gone. No message, no nothing.
Yeah, right.
Still got all the money from Airbnb. Airbnb's good money, so the payout was good.
Yeah,
but
but the bed's a bit worn out.
Oh, my God.
I didn't want to know. I went searching on the line. No, I'm kidding.
You got to. I didn't move that
And
painting
now, long
there.
story short, I'm their
Amazing.
location scout.
That's right.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Hey, you know what? While you're in here, I'm interested to find out your take on a story that's sweeping the nation at the moment.
All right.
The mushroom cook. The mushroom cook lady.
Allegedly.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
No, she cooked the mushrooms.
It's an alleged crime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it was on. I saw. It was on one of the British news channels.
Yeah.
I like to keep on what's going on in the UK.
Yeah.
And the tagline was "Mushroom Mystery."
Yes.
That's what they call
That
it.
grabs you, doesn't it?
The mushroom mystery. Well, funny enough, I am across this because the mushroom, the incident,
Yes.
it happened not far from where I live.
Oh, right. So you know, it's,
local news.
Yeah.
And we
so
going,
Lee and
look,
Gather, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
Cornbury.
just not far away at all. And I went, aye, this is a bit of local mushroom news.
Been to the Aldi in Lee and Gather.
Have you?
It was a good day, actually.
On your way to Inverloch, is that where you were going?
I was coming back from Moe.
Oh.
What the hell were you doing in
We went to
Moe?
the Moe races.
Nobody goes to Moe, do they?
Yeah, someone told me that the Moe crayfish is actually a spring roll. That's what they call it.
Yeah,
Is that right?
I mean,
Moe's the collie of Victoria.
I mean,
everybody
it's
for reference.
very. I mean, when you say Murray races, I mean that is basically you getting chased out of town. I'm guessing, and that's because you were probably wearing enclosed shoes.
I know. Who does he think he is?
I do like I love the mushroom mystery. I like the fact that she's. There's a lot of inconsistencies.
Isn't there?
There's a lot of
Because the police are saying at the bottom of everything, this could just be a very innocent thing. But I tell you what,
I know, like people died.
every step is a misstep from her trying to act innocent because you're doing the opposite of that.
But maybe that's a double.
Maybe.
Maybe she's
so clever.
Yeah.
Because nowadays people have so much access to true crime podcasts that you sort of, she might have a plan.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head here. That's the biggest thing about this is now people have seen, like with these true crime podcasts, it's happened with our Teacher's Pet, so like I think the brothers now being implicated. People listen to these things, they get invested in it. Everybody, the Golden State Killer, everyone jumps on it. I think what's going to happen, whether this woman's guilty or not, right? I think what's going to happen is people are going to listen to this.
Yes.
They're going to hang on a second. There's a mushroom-based crime in my town.
Oh, okay.
And then it's going to be a whole... in fact, I say we start it here. We've got the equipment.
Yes.
Mushroom-based crimes.
And
We
that
just go
guy,
around from
imagine
state
that
to state,
podcast
town to
at the
town.
end of every episode is a recipe. How good would that be?
A killer recipe.
A killer recipe.
Yeah, that's what we call them.
Killer recipe.
Today's killer recipe.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Mushroom
I mean,
soup.
it doesn't necessarily have to be the forget about your pork sponsor. You want big mushroom. Get the big mushroom.
I don't
on.
think this is doing great work for the mushroom industry, though, is it?
Yeah, but the fact that mushrooms have to,
they've got to turn it around.
They've got to grow in the dark.
Yes.
So like dark tales of mushrooms.
Yes.
Oh, what are they doing? What are they planning?
Fiendish fungi.
Yeah. It's a
This is good.
Because I'm sure there's not just like obviously this is a poisoning crime involving the mushrooms.
Allegedly.
But, what?
Allegedly. We have to say that.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We've done
sorry.
legal
Yes.
training.
I said crime, didn't I? Yes, sorry.
Alleged crime.
Yeah.
Sorry. Incident. Which is, sorry.
Well done, saved it.
This
Completely
is,
saved it.
but hang on.
Remember that incident where that guy fell on my knife repeatedly? What is it?
No, but hang on. If the police are investigating,
Yeah.
are they investigating?
They're
to see if
investigating.
there's
There's been no charges. There's a lot of information going around. They're saying that every time she surrenders a statement or whatever, everything comes out of her mouth or she does is not helpful. They're saying,
they have.
They're saying it's muddying it. It's confusing it and all that sort of stuff.
The police are actually saying, please stop talking. This is just paperwork for us. But there's got to be other crimes involving mushrooms.
Don't you think?
You see what I mean?
There'd
Not that
have
that's
to.
a crime.
No,
it's an incident.
no,
There must be other incidents.
Mushroom-based incidents.
Of people dying, like mushrooms falling on them.
Do you think?
Slipping on a toadstool and whacking your head.
Unless you're a Smurf, I don't think you're going to be in danger of.
All right, I'm suggesting a large amount of mushrooms.
Oh, okay,
One
right.
mushroom.
So not one giant mushroom.
Not one
many button
champignon.
mushrooms.
Well, I've been hit with a hell of a lot of pillows. That's not to do anything to
Like a ton of
How are
feathers
the
is
mushrooms
still a
you have
ton.
experience with?
I mean, look, there's certain mushrooms that cause a hallucinogenic effect. There's got to be some
There would
sort.
have
There's
to be.
got to be some kind of incident involving somebody who had eaten the wrong sort of mushroom, thought something was happening, it wasn't happening.
Yep.
Make sure you tune in to our mushroom-based podcast. It will be happening.
See?
It's a thing.
It is a thing.
If you think to yourself, every type of podcast has been done.
Yes.
No, my friends, there's always new ones you can do.
Nathan, Nat and Sean in podcast form.
Usually you know everything to do with yourself.
Well, you think you do,
and
don't
then
you?
sometimes someone can come along and tell you something you're not aware about at all. And this has happened with Daniel Ricciardo, because Daniel Ricciardo is now a lead in a romance novel that's been written about him. It's called Overtake My Heart, Thick Rick Races for Love.
Yeah, it's number 1 out of the 69 series. No, honestly.
Yeah. So there's a photo of him, a drawing of him in that romantic
kind
novel,
of windswept. Yes, think Fabio,
big
but
chest,
Daniel Ricciardo.
abs. He's straddling the hood of a car,
and he's like his shirt unbuttoned.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
If you meet Thick Rick, what are you thinking, Nat?
I'm thinking I'm pretty happy with the situation.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. The person that wrote it is really funny, actually. Yeah. She says, this is her bio, Anita Driver, that's her name. Anita Driver is a Formula One enthusiast who has attended every Spanish Grand Prix since 1991. She first learned to love cars when she was struck by one at the age of 9. Then it goes on to say, she currently resides in a flat in New York with her 29 cats who are all named Bernie Wigglestone. She once shared a cab with Margaret Thatcher and has a very festive pair of ruby slippers that she wears when she's feeling fancy.
So she's funny. I like
so
her.
She's a bit fun. So the book, it's all about a chick named Emily. Follow Emily, a smart, independent woman, as she navigates the thrilling and glamorous world of Formula One racing and tangles with the irresistible, charming playboy Daniel Ricciardo. And then she's apparently got a bit of a fetish about his neck, because his neck is mentioned 30 times in the book.
Cool. Wow.
Here we go. Here's some of it. Emily found herself drawn to the sight, her heart beating faster, as she imagined what it would feel like to touch that thick, powerful neck. No neck could compare. They say a man is 75% water, but not Daniel. He was 75% neck.
So it's pretty erotic,
So when you
obviously.
think about it,
It's neck level.
Yeah.
It's neck level. Crazy. He found out about this. He found it. He was on Dax Shepard, who is Kristen Bell's husband. He was on his podcast. So Dax was talking about it. He sent it over to Daniel, and this is Daniel's reaction to seeing the book for a first time, which he did not know about.
What the hell? Anita Driver, Overtake My Heart, makes a great gift for mum. Thick Rick Races for Love. Book 1 of 69 in the Daniel Ricciardo Erotic Adventure Series. What the is this? I look jacked, though.
I'll take that.
I mean, if they're going to put a drawing of you on the front, you want it to look good.
It's
So,
so
you know,
I know, but that's amazing to feel.
I mean, it's a little bit,
using your name.
Well, the legalities of it is one of the legalities. Anyone can write fiction.
Yes.
But, like, you know, yeah.
Well, you're using someone's name.
So I'm sure that he'll be getting someone up and about that, just to have a little bit of a dabble. But I've been telling you guys what happened with Johnny. So Johnny, as you know, my mate from Meat and Bun, he was using this software, right? So it's sort of like a software that combines everything together.
Like a business
so your stock
management,
taking, all that sort of stuff. Yep. It's a back of house management platform. So anyway, he's been using it and he's been loving it. He thinks it's absolutely amazing. So the company that set him up and Johnny had paid for, they contacted him and said, hey, how are you going? And he goes, we'd love to do a Zoom call with you just to have a chat and see.
Get your feedback.
Yeah, what your feedback is. So he goes, all right, no worries. So suddenly, Johnny's phone's ringing. He's driving, so he pulls his car over to the side of the road, and then he's just doing a Zoom call with these people, just having a chat with them. Yeah, in his car. Just having a chat with them, saying how great it is, just blowing smoke up their bums, basically. Why not? As you would. Anyway, long story short, I was told by a few people, hey, I haven't realised that Johnny's done an ad. And I went, Johnny hasn't done an ad. I'd know Johnny's done an ad. And I went, no, we've seen it on Instagram. We've seen it online. I said, Johnny hasn't done an ad. Anyway, I find out and speak to Johnny. I said, what's this ad apparently you're doing? That Zoom call from this business they use that as an ad.
So they record it and then put an ad with his testimonial.
Yeah, and they've
without
tagged Meat
telling
and
him
Bun
that that's
in.
what they were doing.
And so Johnny's like, wait, I said, did you agree to this? And he goes, I don't think I did. No, I don't think I did. And he goes, but I've contacted them. They haven't gotten back to me about using my ad. Here's a bit of it here.
It's just a life-changing app, like an add-on for us. It's just, it's been so good, so easy. I love it so much that I'm recommending it to every single person.
So
I even
bringing
had like a meet-up with my local competitors, like we're all like other burger shops, and we're all kind of mates, and I love and respect them. And I was like, should I tell them about it? I keep it my secret, but it's too good, and I just let everyone know.
Mate, I said to him, the only saving grace is you look good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can be a bit of a surprise when you discover that stuff has been made and you are the star without you knowing it. Like Daniel Ricciardo is the feature of a romance novel, the first in a 69-book series according to the author.
Unbelievable. Didn't even know it existed. And my mate Johnny as well, he was used as an Instagram ad from a Zoom call where he just told someone about a product that he liked when he bought it.
Didn't even tell him.
So Iris is in Thornley. Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Iris.
Hey, Iris.
What happened?
I was renting a house in Perth, and my real estate agent was doing a routine house checkup at the time. That's what she had said. And then, 3 weeks later, my daughter rings me and tells me, Mum, the house is up for sale.
Huh?
You can see our family photos. And I'm like, oh my God, what? Really?
So she told you it was a regular house inspection, but while she was there, she took a whole lot of photos.
I thought it was a regular house inspection. And, she took a whole lot of photos for the website. The house looked beautiful, though.
Yeah,
so.
I bet. Yeah, it never looks better than on house inspection day.
Yeah. But I was just shocked to see what my kids' faces in the background.
Yes.
Iris, we had the same at our house. We were selling our house a few years ago. And then there was anyway, we moved on. We saw this Christmas card from that real estate agent.
Yes.
And they had a group photo in our front yard, in our garden.
That's
so
insane.
one of the home opens, they must have got all
Everybody
the staff over here. Let's have a few photos in the garden. Like, Jesus.
That's cheek, isn't it? Thanks, Iris.
Thanks, Iris. Let's go to Sharon in Alkimos. Hey, Sharon.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
What happened, Sharon?
So what happened is about 30 years ago, I'm 50 now. When I was hot back 30 years ago, I was living on the Gold Coast and I met a really hot guy and he was like top of the wazza. And we dated and I was going to the gym and then I won a modelling shoot thing, like, one of those things you put your thing in and you win.
Yeah.
So I won it. So I went to this modelling shoot and I was all sexy lingerie. And I was a fairy, and then I had like all different like props and like that. And my boyfriend was standing there. They said, "You take your shirt off, get on top of her," because he was hot as. So he
barely mentioned it.
We're like making out, like they're taking photos of us. So it's all great.
Yeah.
We leave the place. They said, okay, we'll send you some photos later on. So they did. And then a few months later, I just walked past the shop and there's a huge picture of us making out, like the best picture ever.
Oh, yes.
And so that was great. I didn't really mind.
Oh, my God. Wait.
I thought it looked so good.
What sort of shop was it? Where were you?
On the Gold Coast.
Yeah. And it was a dog food shop.
What shop was it?
What shop was it?
Yeah.
It was a photographer's, wasn't it?
The photographer's shop.
Okay, right.
They were promoting themselves with our thing. Like, we were really good looking guys.
No.
She hasn't said it enough, no.
And then they found us somehow and they said, do you want this photo of you guys? It's a pretty big one. I said, yeah, I've seen it. And they gave it to us after all these years, but we're not together anymore.
So a gigantic poster.
Do you have a copy of it?
30 years going on, he's still got it at his house and he's married with other kids and everything.
He's still got it at his house with his new wife and his family.
Hidden away.
Oh, no.
That's pretty funny. But no, they were really hot, Nathan.
Yeah.
So that's
They're really
okay.
hot.
Actually, knowing that, Sharon, because you said now you were way hotter than you are then, I want to know, we've always asked this question, is it good to have been hot and then lost it, or is it better to have never been hot at all?
Oh, when you get older, you just change your mindset. Like, I think I'm still hot, but I'm not. But but I am.
But she is.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.